Chapter 8, Ownership Transition, 2000 to 2005. The new century was approached with the Y2K scare, which predicted that computer systems worldwide would crash at midnight on January 1st, 2000. But after some preparations, Y2K came and went with little notice and was soon forgotten at Miller Legg. In early 2000, Bob Miller and Bob held a little-noticed breakfast together at the local IHOP restaurant where they discussed at length what should be the future ownership of Miller Legg. They concluded that the company must remain in the ownership of its employees. Therefore, they needed to plan an internal ownership transfer from their majority ownership. They set a 5-year plan to transfer their ownerships to key individuals throughout the company, and the process began soon after. David John was assigned the critical task of developing a plan for the company to buy back the stock of the two Bobs, and at the same time sell as much of it as possible to principals and associates. It was decided that no one person would own more than 15% of Miller Legg, and no non-employee would be allowed to own any company stock. When the first stock offering was made in 2001 to all associates, senior associates, and principals, 23 persons stepped forward to begin the first major ownership transition process. It was a great day for the future of Miller Legg. Each year since then, more future leaders of Miller Legg have invested in their company stock, and its value continues to increase each year. During this time, Miller Legg increased its role as consultant to Broward County for the neighborhood improvement projects. These projects were located at the north end of the county, and it soon became apparent that Miller Legg needed a field office closer to the county's utilities office. Thus was the origin of the Fort Lauderdale branch office, and Miller Legg has become the NIP experts of Florida. Other new project types were completed, including a National Veterans Cemetery, a new municipal golf course, and national and international resorts and entertainment complexes. Numerous design awards were received for these high-profile projects. During this time, the firm also performed its largest GIS project, surveying over 850 miles of natural gas transmission pipelines throughout Florida, from Turkey Point to Tallahassee, from coast to coast. Miller Legg was selected for its first surveying project for the Florida Department of Transportation. At the request of an important client several years earlier, Miller Legg had hired an environmental risk management specialist, Jeff Flaherty, in Orlando to provide environmental and hazardous waste assessments throughout the state. This operation grew steadily, and it was soon decided that the market could support a Miller Legg branch office in Central Florida to offer all of the company's services. Through a contact, Bob Miller began discussions with the Orlando consulting firm of Ivy Harris & Walls. After a year of negotiations, a deal was struck for Miller to purchase the landscape architecture division of the business under the leadership of John Walls. Bob Miller spent 2004 and 2005 managing this new office and helping guide its staff to offering a full scope of design services for Central Florida clients.
Miller Legg was proud to be selected by CE News as one of the 50 best places to work in the U.S. for the years 2002 and 2003. This recognition confirmed what we had known for many years.
On January 16, 2004, David John was installed as the second president of Miller Legg. This was an historic event for Bob Miller after serving as company president and CEO for the previous 28 years. Coincidentally, Florida was struck by 2 major hurricanes in 2004 and 2 more in 2005. David began to wonder if Bob Miller had jinxed him. Bob Miller can be seen periodically wandering the halls of any of the Miller Legg offices. His most recent responsibility was the creation of this company history document. The ownership of Miller Legg has grown to 35 principals and associates with company annual revenues exceeding $18 million. Bob Legg continues working for the company as founding principal and community relations director. In 2005, the firm celebrated its 40th anniversary and received a Broward County Commission proclamation naming that day as Miller Legg Day. A 25-year time capsule was created and sealed that year and is now on display at one of the offices. The world changed dramatically on September 11, 2001, when terrorists struck the World Trade Center in New York and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Several years later, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan and later Iraq for prolonged military action. In 2003, the Florida Marlins won the World Series, and the Space Shuttle Columbia was destroyed during its return to Earth. In March 2000, the stock market last went past 10,000. Bob Miller officially retired from Miller Legg in 2005.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating. The newspapers shout, a new style is growing, but it don't know if it's coming or going. There is fashion, there is fact. Some is good, some is bad, and the joke